We're going to keep going now with David Harris.
Thanks, Sean. My name is David Harris. I'm running for one of the 4-year seats at TUD. The reason I'm running is I'd like to see my daughters not have to fight this very same issue in 20 or 30 years. Secondly, the drought, I think, has proven that TUD is not fully prepared for our shortage of water. Not all our water problems lie at the feet of this board or this general manager. 4/5 of this board has only been on the job less than 2 years. The general manager has been on the board for less time than that. But we need to look at the past to learn about the mistakes so we don't repeat them. The biggest thing is, I wish that sucker 100 years ago had filed for some water rights. Now we're in trouble. Now we got to do something about it. But those are things, and sorry for the pun, that's water under the bridge. And we got to go forward. We got to look to the future. We got to figure out what we're going to do, and we got to get it done. What are our problems? Well, 5 minutes don't do it. 5 hours don't do it. Costs. Start looking at the overall costs in the budget. Every cost. The biggest one is labor costs. From the TUD website, labor makes up 72% of the operating revenue, and that's $8.9 million. When you factor in roughly 80 employees, there's 71 full-time, 4 part-time, and 8 temporary, and count those 12 as 9, you have an average cost per employee of $111,874. Now, I took one elementary school today, got information from them, did not audit their figures, took it over the phone, asked them for their total cost of their operation. That includes their teachers, administration, their cooks, bottle washers, everybody. They have an operating budget of $3.5 million, 51.1 full-time equivalent employees. An average cost is $69,000. There's a big spread there. That's $42,000. Now, either some of the TUD costs can come down, or teachers need to be paid a lot more, one of the two. You know, it's pretty simple. We heard today that TUD is still underfunded by $6.2 million on its employee contributions. Now, all of these costs are not at the are not for the staff or the board to solve. A lot of them, you know, lay in Sacramento. You know, they've had to replace vehicles due to CARB. But I question replacing a truck that's got 150,000 miles on it. I mean, I think a lot of farmers and ranchers think 150,000 miles is just barely getting broke in. But anyway, where do we go from here? What do we do? What's the board got to do? This new board has got to pick a great general manager, the guy that can communicate, can bring in some new ideas, and knows how to partner with people. And why do I say partner? Because we have to get some water through our partners. We're not going to get any senior water rights. TUD is not going to come over, TID is not going to come over and say, here, take 30,000 acre feet. So we're going to have to figure out a way to partner with somebody and figure out a way that we can hold that water for a period of time until they get it, so that we can win. Another thing we need to stop is this wrong-headed way of cutting down on the ditches. Those ditches spread water throughout this county. They only in Tuolumne County would we consider a water loss bad. It's a water loss because you can't charge for it, I guess, but that's ground recharge and everywhere else. You know, down in Southern California, Chino recharges their water, and they have 2 years worth of water in the ground for the next drought. So, you know, we just got to start thinking out of the box. Thank you for the present board for pushing for the Maylot ditch. which added 14 acre-feet of water, and for the Sierra Pines. Those two things have one thing in common. They're on the ditch system. We got a great resource and we need to use that. So anyway, I don't know what else to say, but we need water.
Thank you, David.
To grow.
All right, do we have questions for David? Well, since you're all being shy, I'll keep going. David, I'm curious on your thoughts on the Brown Act and the importance of that to the TUD board moving forward.
Is that the Brown Act that's named for the infamous Willie Brown?
No, I believe it was Ralph Brown, but
Hey, two board members shouldn't discuss, or shouldn't be more than two board members discussing policy, period. Everything should be talked about in open public, period. If you need to talk about something sensitive, get a consensus how you're going to do it and leave it to that. Just what's the big secret? We need water and we need to take care of business. Let's get on with it.
I would like to know how many TUD meetings you've attended in the past year, please.
I've attended 2 board meetings in the past 2 months. I've attended 1 finance meeting, and I've looked at more of them online than I can count. I'm sorry, I can't tell you exactly how many. I just can't get to a 5:30 meeting, let alone a 2 o'clock meeting. That's in the middle of the day. And if I get on the board, my first motion will be to move that thing back to at least 6:30. I'm sorry.
Question here. About 2 weeks ago, the local paper, the Union Democrat, ran a poll, and the question was as follows. What is the best solution for future water needs? The optional answers were 1, conservation, 2, raise Lions Dam, 3, raise rates to acquire additional water, 4, seek water rights. Now, I wrote a letter to the paper pointing out that that's a loaded poll, because only one of them do they mention raising rates. None of those things come for free. Which of those 4 options, conservation, raising lions, acquiring additional water, or seeking water rights, do you favor? And if there's some 5th option, tell us about that one.
I favor finding some water rights through a partnership. I really think we can do that. You got Oakdale down there is going to be dying for groundwater. We can recharge their groundwater up here. That water flows down to the capillaries. If we can partner with Tri-Dam and get some storage up here so that we can recharge it, we have to have a partner. We're a little podunk little company over here, and I don't disagree that if we don't get our act in order, we can be looking at bankruptcy.
I'm consistent. I'll ask you the same question as Mr. Ringen. Can you tell us your background and qualifications for running a multi-million-dollar company?
Got a general contractor's license in 1976. We have built and leased to the state of California CHPs, DMVs. Our biggest project with them was a computer operation in which we had about 150 either employees or subcontractors under our control. We completed that 50,000 square foot job, start to finish, in 111 days, almost around the clock. And that was Harris Enterprises, owned by my wife and I. Just in the last few years, besides our properties in the valley, of which we have rentals, and I'll let you know right now, I don't favor the landlord paying the bill for the tenant. There is no conservation there. If PG&E can charge the tenant, a TUD can charge the tenant. But we started a little company called Conifer Communications, which is growing over 100% a year. We'll be in downtown Sonora in 2 months. So, all right. One more, please. Let's keep it going.
There's a lot of avoidance about raising rates. If water's our gold, why haven't we been raising rates accordingly?
That's a loaded question. I think it was in the interest of management in the past to keep everybody satisfied with the rates at that period so they could keep a chosen board on board. If you want to know the truth, that's what I think.
All right, well, thank you very much, David.